Wow, these are going to have a lot of different videos on this thing. I keep hitting the stop button. Okay, so the fork, the clamps up here, don't want to loosen those all the way. There's a bolt down here at the very bottom. See it up in there, that Allen bolt? That is holding your dampening rod. There's a dampening rod, that's what they call it in here. And I believe that your spring that's in the tube, it sits on top of it. And you want to leave the cap on the top of the tube also. You don't want to take that. You don't want to take that cap off the top. You'll do that here in a minute. Right now, that's putting pressure on the spring, and it's going to help you get this bolt out. If you take that cap off first and you start trying to take this off, this inner side's just going to spin and spin and spin. That's helping you leaving that spring in there. So I've got me a little slide. What do you call it? Impact. It's an impact, and it's. I know it's a mess. Look at that. Looks like a snowman. But that's going to work. It'll take them off. Just give them a few whacks until you finally get a turn on it, and then you can take it out the rest of the way with a regular Allen wrench. Oh, and be ready, because all the fluid's going to drain out. So have your pan ready to shove up underneath there. All the fluid's going to run out of it, whatever's left in there. Okay, got the bolt out of it. My little trick is to use one of the fork tubes and put a screwdriver on it to keep your fork leg from turning around, and it'll try to turn round and round and round on you. But if you stick a flat-headed screwdriver through where your brake brackets are at, and it'll press against the other fork tube, so it'll hold it still. Now we're ready to go and take off the top cap. We can take the top cap off now, or we can take it off after it gets off the bike. You just got to be careful when you unscrew this thing. It's got real fine threads, and it will knock you in the head, which, if you've seen the English guy's video, it's kind of funny. He says, not funny, not funny. I don't imagine it would be to get hit in the head by one of them things. But you can hold it back. It's not so powerful. It's just keep your head out of the way. He's got a good idea of keeping a rag around it, and unscrewing it, and then it'll pop, and the rag will kind of catch it. And just keep track of everything. It's got a short spring in here, and it's got a washer, and then it's got a long spring. So you want to keep track of where everything's at. There is no washer underneath the cap. It's just the cap, small spring, washer, and then large spring. So make sure you're keeping your parts organized too. I mean, I don't care if you've got to have a box or jars or whatever. It's like this little bolt right here. You've got to have this to put this thing back together. Just, be good at what you're doing. Make sure it goes back in the reverse order. I'm going to take this cap off. This is what I was talking about. This is spring. It's got the spring in here, and it'll pop you in the head. So you need to make sure that keep your face out of the way. Okay. Okay, so here's the fork tube with the cap off of it. So this is the order of everything. You got the short spring, the little washer that goes between them, and they call it something else. And you want to put the short coils go to the top. Okay, you don't want to put it the other way around. I guess it'll ride soft or something. But you want to put the coils that are closest together to the top. And from this point, you're going to have fluid just everywhere, man. It gets to be a really nasty mess. Now, I'm going to use this as a slide hammer, and what we're doing, we're going to be pulling out the bushing out of its recess in the leg, and we're pulling out the oil seal at the same time. It's a slide hammer action. It's kind of, it'll pop apart here in just a second. What's all the fluid? Oh, the dampening rod, I'm sorry. There's the dampening rod, and the spring. See the spring on the dampening rod? So you need to remember that goes that way. The spring sits on top of that. Just like that. Okay? That hole right there is where your Allen bolt goes that you took out earlier off the bottom of the leg. That's where that Allen bolt, that's where that's at. So I'm just going to set there next to that. And this is where it's kind of fun. If you got some aggression you need to get worked out. May have to take off that dust seal first. I don't know. It shouldn't, I wouldn't think, but it ought to all come. Really need a vise to do this, and I don't have a vise. Yeah, go ahead and pause it, babe. Okay, well, I never claimed to be a ace mechanic, and I'm getting ahead of myself. I realized that the C-clip is still in there. Dumbass. So I've got to take it out. I'm definitely not going to come out with that in there. If you can see down in here, I'm just getting excited and getting ready. I'm ready to get it done and over with. Anyway, I forget what these are called. My mind goes blank. But anyway, it's a C-clip removal tool, and you got two little holes down in here that you fit it in. And sometimes these will get rusted up in here really bad, and they can be a real booger to get out of there. This shouldn't be that bad in this one. Keep on slipping. They're a fairly cheap pair of pliers, so and you may have to beat on it the circlip a little bit or something to get it to work. See, it's getting stuck in on this side. This side's not there. It comes, but I slipped again. I think I've got one side up, but I don't want to damage this C-clip. Yeah, these things are getting wore out. I have got... Go ahead and pause it, babe. I'm going to get this thing out. Okay, got the C-clip out. Wasn't that big of a deal. I had to get a screwdriver on one side and kind of pried it out, but this one's in great shape still. You'll get them where they're all rusted in there, and summertime already in Texas. Okay, now it's time to slide hammer the seal. Oh, there's a washer in here too. Let's see if there it is. So I'm trying to give you the order of everything. Got that little thin washer on top of the seal still in there, and then the C-clamp, and then this is just your dust boot, your dust cover. So now it's time to slide again. First time it popped out. Okay, so there is your seal. So that's your seal. That's the keeping it from leaking. Then you got another strange washer after that. Make sure it goes in the same way. This is your bushing. This is your upper bushing that goes in the top leg. And you pulled it out when you... This is the lower bushing here. I don't want to wipe that. I'll get a clean rag. I got to keep everything clean, man. I know this garage ain't the cleanest, but got to try to keep everything clean. So anyway, that's your bottom bushing. And if you want to change these, you can. You stick a screwdriver in right there, and you just kind of pry it a little bit, and it, not too rough, just enough to get it out of its little recess to pull it off the end. And this one right here, now this is the one that fits on the outside of the leg. This one goes back down in here, but we're going to clean all this up a little bit. This one looks good too. You'll see like a brass color or something. See, on this one you'd want to look on the inside of the ring if there's scratches or mars, or you see like brass or something. Need to change it. And I've got a list of parts here I'm going to show at the end of the video that'll have the bushings and everything that you need to do this job. So I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm going to clean this up real good, the fork tube. And we need to sand any kind of scratches or anything or rust that you have on it, because we're going to have to slide the new seal over this, you know, and evidently these are real soft rubber and they will damage really easily. So you don't want to do all this work and then put it back together again and it starts leaking right away.
Go.
Okay, I'm going to start reassembling everything's been cleaned. I use gasoline. You can use spray, brake cleaner, whatever you want to do. You just want to make sure this is all like real dry and clean. I know this is, you can tell the garage that I'm in. I'm outdoors, but just do the best you can at keeping everything clean. Blow air in it. You know, if you got an air hose, blow air up inside everything. But everything looks pretty nice and clean, I believe. So first thing you want to do is put the dampening rod back in. Don't forget your little spring that was on there. And this cap comes out of the bottom. Cap comes out of the bottom of this thing. So you got to put that thing on there like that. And then you got to drop the leg in like so. And then kind of turn it over quickly so that cap stays in there. And then you got to just line it up where you can see it in the bottom of the hole where that, and you want to try to, you can just barely start it, but you got to get something in there to hold it. Oh, I forgot. I'm going to use the spring to hold it. I used a broomstick handle before to kind of hold that thing down in there, but you can use the spring too. Just a little bit of tension with your hand. Oh, there goes my. I think my metal ring come off. Let me check. I believe it did. Yeah, I hear it all in there flopping around. So anyway, let's wipe everything down again. Put the spring back on. Cap back on. I think I'm going to try to just drop it. It's got a recess down in there where that little metal cap goes. It's next to impossible to see in there too. Oh, stop the video. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. The dampener rod needs to go in the fork leg all the way till it comes out the bottom. Well, there. Comes out the bottom. Then you put the little metal cap on that. And then this goes into the fork leg, the housing. Now, now you want to tighten down that bolt down there. But there's not a whole lot holding that. I mean, the dampener rod is inside here. So what you need to do is, this is where I did the broom handle. I stuck the spring in. I'll stick the spring in here to hold it kind of still. And then you just get your bolt. And it's going to be, you'll know if you got it. You want to try to finger tighten it. This is what's holding your upper leg in there. This will not let, now this will not come out. That's why you have to take this out when you do the slide hammer thing to pull it all apart. This is holding everything together. All right, so that's just going to be like finger tight. You got to remember to tighten that thing down after you get it on the bike. All right, so now that is in there now. See, it won't let it come out. You can feel that spring, the small spring that was on the dampener. You can feel it hitting that. You know, it's kind of boing boing. It's got a spring to it. Okay, so now I've got to put this ring in and put it with the lip up. This, I realized this a while ago. This is your oil seal, and you want to put the oil seal in. Honda says it on their package even. This is the manufacturer. This is an NGK. This ring goes up inside the bottom side of it like that. See? So don't get it in there upside down like that. That's not correct. It needs to be like that. So, but before we do that, you want to put on your, this is your sleeve, your bushing that's on the inside of the top of the leg.